So Ariana, you were in a couple different spooky plays, I should say films this year. And this one, What's in the Box, you got to play Carol again for the second year in a row. What were the differences or challenges of performing Box for the screen as opposed to the stage?
I think that there were more challenges performing it for the stage than there were for the screen. Just because, it relies so heavily on like the surprise factor of things. And that's a lot easier to get when you're filming because you can obviously start and stop and add some movie magic where when you're on stage, you have to do all of that in person. So like, me appearing in a chair is less surprising on stage when you can see me run from one place to the next.
Right.
Whereas like when you're filming it, you can literally like I could just appear because movie magic and all. So I would say that there were probably more challenges doing it on stage than there were on film.
That's fun because usually it's like the other way around, especially with people who are more familiar with stage acting or more experienced and on the stage. It's like when you go to film, it's like, what is this? Why are we stopping every 5 seconds? I memorized this monologue, damn it, So what kind of person is going to love What's in the Box? Anybody?
Honestly, the type of person that's going to love What's in the Box are people that like horror films. I think that Justin's script, it's scary anyways, like when you're reading it, when you're seeing it on stage, but like it lends really well to film, in the sense that there are like a few jump scares, a few like, twists, turns. So like people who really like horror movies would like this play, this film, whatever this is.
This piece of media. So why did you want to be involved in this production, this kind of special, weird year of spooky?
Well, I loved doing it last year. And specifically this piece, I loved, this was like probably out of, I like both the ones I did last year, but this was probably my favorite. And so when you guys told me you were bringing it back, like I was 100% on board right away because I really like this play / film / piece of art.
I think I'm in agreement with that. It was fun to watch. I was saying to Nick, it was kind of fun to watch even through the curtain because I was able to also see Justin from where I was sitting. And it was so cool to just kind of see his face react to things as they were happening. So we said that people who like horror would like this film, but do you have anybody specific that you want to shout out because your film is specific to Patreon? Anybody that you want to get on our patron list so that they can see you perform?
I'm gonna shout out my girlfriend, Riley Cousins. Become a patron. Watch it on film. She saw it on stage, so I'd like to see what she thinks about the differences between the stage version last year and the film version. And she also likes horror movies.
So. Nice. Yeah. Patreon works in Canada, everybody. That's one thing that's not screwed up by the pandemic.
No.
So how is Carol? How is she like you? And how is she different?
Well, you can see it in this play, and then for those who didn't attend the last Facebook Live quarantine quarters, Justin wrote another play based on these same characters. But you can see it in What's in the Box, and then also in this other play that he wrote. The Carol is very like passionate and loyal, kind of to a fault. She sticks to this box and to this task, and she stays in this house, and she does what she has to do, even though like super dangerous. And I feel like she's putting the greater good above her own good, which is definitely something that I feel like I do a lot. That's loyal and passionate, and that's a way we're similar.
And yeah, those are typically pretty good things, but it's almost like, what's going on in this universe? They don't have any ghost hunters. Why is this poor
Yeah,
girl doing this?
you know what?
Where are the supernatural guys when you need them?
Yeah.
Do you love that about that character, or is there something else that you love about Carol that you want to talk about?
I see it's very conflicting because I love that about Carol because like you said, those are like great traits to have. But I'm conflicted because like, the rational part of me is like, just get out of the house.
Right,
Let
just leave.
just leave.
And so I guess it's kind of a love-hate relationship then. So
Yeah.
we could probably skip the next one. We're just like, do you hate this character? Which would be bad, I would think, if you
No,
hate a character.
definitely don't hate her, but like, how it's in every horror movie, you're just like, no, don't go back there. Like, what are you doing? Just leave the
Right.
house. And they always say.
They always go. Um, so besides yourself, because you are considered, I think, a GVP celebrity at this point with 2 years in a row, which celebrity would you like to see tackle Carol? What do you think would look good there?
Um, my favorite horror movies, well, actually, just like one of my top horror movies is Hereditary. And I really, really love watching Toni Collette in horror movies, and I think that she would do a really good job at playing Carol. Um,
Yeah.
especially the freak out part. She's great at that.
Oh
She's
yeah.
nailed freaking out. And it's,
It's so funny because like for a long time I kind of liked the idea of horror movies, but I was super uh just I'm not gonna watch them by myself, and then my boyfriend doesn't like them at all, so I just haven't seen them in so long. But I definitely like those jump scare things, and then the psychological stuff too, which there's a lot of that in Box, I think,
mm-hmm.
because just because there's so much suspense that, yeah, it'd be really fun to see her play that, play this character, and pretty much just to watch it on a big screen. So
Yeah.
be really cool. Hopefully, maybe, we keep giving Justin ideas. Maybe he'll write a full length. We'll see. Um, without giving anything away, do you have a favorite line of dialogue?
Oh man, I gotta remember it. Oh, it's only been 2 years of having it in my brain, and now I can't think of any. Um,
Nick said, Carol? That's his favorite
so specific.
line.
Um, um, I think this is my favorite line to say, just because I think it's I like the phrasing because it's not something I would usually say, and it's not something I've ever heard anybody say. Um, but Carol's yelling at Fred, which is pretty much what she does the whole play. Um, and she says it's something along the lines of like, if you're not gonna leave, then you better damn help me. And every time, it's just that one always sticks out in my brain because it's like she's very frazzled at that point, and so I think like the very unique phrasing that somebody normally wouldn't say, I feel like it works in the context of the play when that line happens.
Yeah, it's so funny that you say that, because I thought kind of a similar thing every time I heard that. Like, damn seems like it's in the wrong place
Yeah.
almost, but it's almost as if you like interrupt yourself kind of because you're so frazzled. You're like, God, damn it, help me out.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people that you look up to as actor, director, writers go. Is there anybody that comes to mind?
Well, I mean, and she immediately comes to mind because I just spent all of my time rewatching all of American Horror Story. So definitely Sarah Paulson. I know she gets a lot of hate because she cries funny, but she's very, very talented. And like she's in every season of American Horror Story playing a different character, and she brings it 500% every time. So I really admire her and her acting chops.
Yeah, I've seen her in other things, and I remember really liking her. I can't place what it was because it wasn't American Horror Story, but it was something else, and I remember liking her a lot. Gosh, I wish I could remember what it was. But yeah, she's got really good. I feel like she can stare into your soul, if that
Yeah, oh
makes
my
sense.
God. You're right.
um, and then what do you do? Because you're always doing theater, but what are you doing when you're not doing theater?
Netflix. I'm really I love TV shows. Like I'm a nerd for TV shows. I'm also really bad at like rewatching like a lot of my favorite TV shows, but I'll rewatch them and like I won't like actually physically take notes, but like mentally I'll focus on different things each time I rewatch it.
Mhm.
Like who has directed each of the episodes, and then I watch for like their specific directing styles in the certain episodes that they've directed. Um, but I love, I really like TV shows, and so I watch Netflix a lot. And I also play guitar. I like going on hikes. Uh,
Nice.
yeah,
That's a really cool thing about the rewatch because I've always like, oh, I keep watching the same three shows over and over again. But you like specifically watch for certain things. And that seems like
yeah,
that's a good idea. Like since we started getting into this film stuff, because that's new, I've been starting to pay attention to that kind of thing more often to where it's like, I hope I'm not annoying to watch movies with now, because I'm like, oh, that shot's really cool.
yeah. Um, yeah, focusing on directors. Sometimes like I'll rewatch a show and I'll like try and focus on a secondary character that I usually don't pay attention to, and like see like what little details I can find in them that enhance the story that I didn't notice before. And it's like cool when you just like shift your focus to something other than like what's right in front of you.
Hmm.
Especially when it's something you've already seen before, because it's just easy to put it on as background noise and be on your phone and do something else, which you know is yeah
Right. Yeah, that's like its
your
own
brain's
thing.
accustomed at that point. So
But after like the sixth time, you're like, okay, I should probably watch for something else this
yeah.
time. Yeah.